go along. But let me start by welcoming everyone to this meeting. My name is Abel Yamba, and I think I know most of you. And I'm the PNG FETP Frontline Program Coordinator, and I'll be moderating this session. This is the second FETP Frontline Program stakeholder engagement meeting. The main purpose of this meeting is to update you all on the activities in the previous 6 months and plans for implementation of the Frontline program in the first 2 provinces. Next slide, please. So this is our agenda for today's session. We'll have the welcome remarks and then I think a couple of areas to cover for this morning, and we should be concluding with questions and discussions. So if you, as we go through the presentation, and if you have any question or anything that you think it's related to the slide and you want to ask, you can, but just wanted to let everyone know that we also have time for questions and discussions right towards the end. All right, next slide. Yeah, on behalf of NDOH and other Mr. Barry Roper, I would like to acknowledge each and every one of you from different government agencies and development partners for joining this stakeholder engagement meeting. And it is a great pleasure for me to welcome you here this morning. I thank you all for your presence with us today. I'm very pleased to be here in this discussion efforts as we discuss the Frontline program, but I think more particular interest has been placed on One Health as well, integrating the public health, animal health, and environment and wildlife sectors on action to collaborate and address the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. This event is another important step to give a practical meaning to the commitment behind this path to see approaches to addressing health can take another form and meaning and to set operational plans towards the holistic approach to health. So in this virtual meeting, we will try our best to actually provide you an update of how we have come over the past few months, and then the plans that we have moving forward to implementation in the first 2 provinces and into the other provinces that are being planned. Next slide. I believe we have some new people in this meeting, and I would specifically maybe give them some time to introduce themselves. Maybe we can start with the World Vision team. I believe we have 2 new people on board, but I believe we also have Anita, who's the Chief of Party for World Vision, and maybe she can introduce herself, and welcome Anita to the country and to the program as well. And after we can have a few other members of the World Vision team introducing themselves.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abel and the rest of the team. It gives us great pleasure to be part of this stakeholder meeting, and we are really thankful to God for this opportunity to work closely with all of you, and appreciate the leadership of Mr. Barry Roper and the team. And I will just hand over to my colleagues here, who are, some of them have just joined recently. We also have Michael in. Michael in is our grant operations manager. Everyone. And over to Miriam and Peter to introduce themselves.
All right, good morning. My name is Miriam Boas. I'm the Prevention Project Assistant for the FETPNG project in West Newton Province. Thank you.
Sorry. Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Tomo. I'll be the coordinator for FETP program in Western Britain. Yeah. Happy to be in the meeting too.
Nice, thank you. And we also have Evans. Evans is our grant operations specialist again, part of the ops team. And thank you very much for this opportunity. We welcome Muriel and Peter into our team, and we look forward to great innings on this in West New Britain. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Abel. Over to you.
All right, thanks for that update introduction. Let's see if we have one or two other people who need introduction.
Maybe me? Sabu?
Yes, please, Rahman.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Rezanur Rahman. I actually work with the MAE team. For people who don't know, MAE is the Australian FETP, and I'm actually a medical graduate, and I'm a graduate of Bangladesh FETP. And I did my PhD in a One Health approach from University of Adelaide. Yeah, so that's me, and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thanks. Is there anyone who has not introduced themselves or the other members of the team need to know and you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Abel. I think I know most on the team from my work supporting FETP programs, but just wanted to say hello and yeah, look forward to joining the Frontline initiative going forward. My name's Jo, and I'm part of the Field Epi and Action team, along with James and Trini and Laura and Tambri, who many of you have all worked with before. Thanks.
Thanks, Jo. Alden, maybe for the sake of Anita and the team, you may want to introduce yourself.
Yes, sure. Hi, Alden Henderson, graduate of EIS. I've been working with FETP since 2007, started with Thailand, but soon expanded to most of Asia and working with Africa. Started many FETPs in the region and was in PNG for about 3 years, helping them with their FETP. Over.
Thanks, Alden. Maybe Nick. I think we are not plenty, so we can just complete the introductions and then proceed.
Yeah, hi, Abel. Thanks. So I'm just trying to get my video going. It's just being a bit stuck. Hi, everyone. Nick Harris is my name. So I work at the Indo-Pacific Centre for Health Security, which is an initiative housed and run within the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. And we've been supporting a number of projects in the region and in PNG specifically on health security strengthening, including the FETPNG in partnership with Hunter New England Health and Newcastle Uni. So we've been supporting both the intermediate and the advanced FETPNG, and really interested in this frontline version. So I'm a vet and epi by trade, and been working on surveillance and capacity building in the region since 2007, and done a fair bit of work in PNG specifically. Over.
Thank you. Patrick?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name's Patrick.
As our presenter indicated, the interest in monkeypox is relatively low, so it's very difficult to get engagement on this. Thanks.
Oh, sorry about that, Patrick. Please go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, so my name's Patrick. I just started with the Field Epi team here in Newcastle. I'm doing the communications, a lot of communications work, and thanks for having me. Look forward to hearing about hearing from the meeting.
All right, thanks. Anu?
Hi. Anup here. I'm sorry, I'm the WHO team lead communicable disease, and I am closely following the design of the thing with very interest and basically directions, especially with new cases and new pathogens coming in, and you know about the monkeypox and others. So I think this importance of this is really cannot be stated. But also, I would also love the provincial kind of involvement in this whole design, and that would be great. And I look forward to. I'll just listen in today. Yeah, thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Anup. Yeah, I think let's have Alois and then James, and then we should be done on the introductions.
Thank you. I am Alois Kenny, Deputy Secretary, Public Health and Clinical Health Services in the Autonomous Region of Bougainville. I have been involved in the immediate FETP training since 2014, and I'm also part of the advance. And in terms of the frontline, we have been in the beginning involved in the frontline planning process until now. So I'm happy to be part of the Frontline program, which is part of the National FETP program. Thank you.
Thanks, Alois. Alois is one of our senior faculty members based out of Bougainville, together with, I think, Symphorian, who's based out of West Sepik, and Betsiba is based out of West New Britain. So these are some of the provinces we're starting this frontline program in because of strong FETP presence. So thanks, Alois. James?
Yeah, hi, thanks very much, Abel, and very good morning, everyone. It's great to be on this update meeting. I'm the coordinator of the Field Epi in Action program and work closely with Joe and with Abel and the team here, and Trini and Patrick. Also just wanted to pass on, I have received messages from Beth, who apologizes. She is in a budget meeting this morning, and Simp, I think, is having some challenges connecting. So they're our two representatives from Western Britain and West Sepik. Thanks, Abel.
Thanks, James. And let's conclude with Trini.
Hi, everyone. My name is Trini Velasco. I'm veterinarian by training. I joined a year ago the team with James, Joe, Patrick, and I'm happy to support the program.
Thanks, Trini. Did we miss anyone? I think we're good. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, this is what we call the FET program wheel, and it shows in one slide our programs, including the rapid response teams, intermediate and advanced FETP programs, our capacity building initiatives, and leadership training elements of the whole program. Next slide. Yeah, in the next few slides, we'll provide an overview of the Frontline program and just doing some recap on the aims and objectives as well. Next slide. Yeah, so the Frontline program is a 3-month in-service training program designed to strengthen EPI capacity at the district level with an enhanced community engagement piece. It will run for a period of 12 weeks, so 3 months. The program's goal is to use training to strengthen engagement of communities and district health services in surveillance and response. The program objectives are that through successful implementation of the FETP Frontline program, we will achieve the following. Firstly, to enhance community engagement and participation in disease surveillance and response, and then to improve basic surveillance data collection and analysis, interpretation, and communication at the district level, improve the sharing and dissemination of health information, and finally to improve the capacity to investigate and respond to public health events of importance. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the Frontline program structure, as I mentioned earlier. There will be about, it'll be running for 12 weeks or 3 months, and there will be about 3 workshops conducted in intervals and 2 field activities between the workshops. Yeah, we're looking at the running total of about 12 weeks. And so they should be happening like one after the other. So we're able to maintain the momentum and make sure that the fellows in the districts are able to pick up those necessary skills. All right, next slide. Yeah, I think we've also sent or attached the meeting invitation on the draft competency domains of the Frontline program as well, as the learning outcomes and learning objectives. So there are about 7 competency domains. While public health surveillance will be the focus of the first workshop, and field interval and outbreak investigations the second. Fellows will be required to demonstrate competencies from all domains. Communication and community engagement remains the key focus for building relationships with the communities and between the different disciplines in public health, animal health, and environmental health. Next slide. Yeah, I think there's a chat comment relating to the previous slide, but I think in terms of the number of trainees, we're looking at 15 to 20 participants. On this slide, so one of the approach at the local level, so we're looking at the frontline FETP that will be exemplified by training fellows at the district and provincial levels. So fellows will represent public health, animal health, and environmental sectors to build true One Health capacity and collaborate when monitoring and responding to different health issues in the communities. Okay, next slide. Looking at some of the progress that we've made, 2 provinces have been selected to pilot the Frontline program. The West New Britain province and the West Sepik province. This was based on strong field IP capacity at the provincial level. So as I mentioned earlier, we have Symphorian in West Sepik province, who's one of our senior faculty members, and we have Betsiba in West New Britain. So we're looking at the presence of strong FETP as one of the criteria to implement the Frontline program in the provinces. We've completed the provincial stakeholder engagements in both provinces. As I mentioned, Symphorian is our point of contact for West Sepik, and Betsiba is our point of contact for West New Britain. We have additional staff members from the different agencies, government agencies that are willing to join us and who are part of the team. Miss Elaine from Nakia has been involved in the frontline engagement as well as with the readiness assessment. Ray from the environmental health sector within the National Department of Health has also agreed to be part of the team and has joined the readiness assessment in West New Britain province. We also have plans to complete the readiness assessment for West Sepik province towards the end of this month. Local frontline coordinators and project officers have been recruited for West New Britain, and thanks to World Vision has led the recruitment process, and we've had in the introduction as well that Peter and Marielle have joined our team, but they'll be based out of West New Britain to support the program. And we're currently finalizing the recruitment for West Sepik. The applications have been received, and we're working together with the provincial team to shortlist the applications and conduct the interviews. Venue selection and budget and planning have been probably about 90% completed for West New Britain. But we'll do that when we're in West Sepik in the next couple of weeks' time. Next slide. Yeah, we will actually have to shortlist about 15 to 20 participants, and for West New Britain, they've completed that. We're here to identify a representative from Department of Agriculture and Livestock, and also from the Environment and Conservation Authority. But those participants within the province and the community level organizations have already been identified for West New Britain province. In terms of understanding where these participants will be coming from, they're coming from the public health sector, environmental health, NACIA, Department of Agriculture, Environment and Conservation. We're also looking at key people who engage in training, village health volunteers, so bringing them on board as well, so they can be part of the fellows. And we also have a plan of extending a 2-day kind of workshop for additional people whom we feel should be on board. But maybe that 2 days can serve as an introduction, but passing on very key messages to them. Right, next slide. We've made some progress in content development, and thanks to the Field App in Action team from Australia. We've also recruited an international consultant to be part of the team to speed up the process. Our content has been adopted from CDC and ISAVET, as well as other material from our field AP training programs in the country. And we've also set up a technical working group. We've started identifying key people, and we'll be reaching out to 1 or 2 of you, which are already part of the team, but just for a formal notification to be member of this technical working group. Particularly your contributions will be important for the development of the curriculum and content, and your ongoing support as we're implementing the Frontline program. Next slides. Yeah, this is some of the photos taken for the field work we've started. The stakeholder engagement meeting in West Sepik, plus the stakeholder engagement meeting and the readiness assessment meeting in West New Britain that has been conducted so far. And one thing to note in one of the pictures, probably in both of the pictures, is that there's strong PHA. The provincial health authorities are really supportive of this approach, and they're willing to support our engagement with other stakeholders as well. In the recent meeting we had in West New Britain, there was also clear indication that there was some level of frontline engagement and working that was already in progress, but without knowing their full and real concepts. So they were really excited about the frontline concept and working together with different partners. Next slide. Yeah, this is some people that we've identified so far to work in the Frontline technical working group. And if for example, if some of you are busy, then would love to hear from you to nominate someone from the organization, or maybe someone you work with, to be part of the technical working group as we continue to work on the content and continue to work towards the implementation of the Frontline program. Yeah, next slide. This is just looking at some of the key activities that have been achieved to date, and also 2 or 3 other activities that need to happen before the implementation or before the workshop start. So we've so far completed stakeholder mapping and engagement. Needs assessment has been completed at the national level. Stakeholder consultation and workshop was done. Implementation planning, part of that's been done, and some elements are still ongoing. We've completed the readiness assessment for West New Britain, and we'll complete the readiness assessment for West Sepik towards the end of this month. Curriculum development is in progress. We are hoping to have one trainer. Also, just to point out that we had a trainer earlier on this, I think last month, where we had a couple of key members from the province attending or participating in that trainer, particularly Symphorian Alois, Benny, and 1 or 2 other members of the provincial team. So that was good. But we're also thinking of another one in October before the workshop start. And the current tentative dates for the workshop are on September-October period. So we are thinking of maybe completing the trainings for the Frontline program towards the end of this year. But that depends on the different circumstances that may arise. All right, we are up to 11:32. That's according to schedule. So we've got the next 30 minutes for discussions, but let's go to the next slide and see. Yeah, I think we're ready for questions and discussions. So I can open this up for maybe questions and comments, and maybe additional points that any of the members participating in this meeting want to contribute.
Hi, Abel. Looks like Anita has a question.
Thank you. Not a question, but more a comment. And thank you, Dr. Abel, for that really neat presentation. From our end, we acknowledge there have been delays, and it's been a long journey for us as World Vision and this very unique project supported by the Global Fund. And we acknowledge the tremendous impact that this can have on the country's surveillance capacity at all levels. And it's really interesting to see the community engagement piece. I have a couple of comments also just to pose to the technical working group for consideration in future deliberations. One is the linkages to the current COVID-19 strengthening program, which is also being now overseen by the NCC. And also, I think in West New Britain and West Sepik, this will give us an excellent opportunity to connect the dots with what's currently being rolled out we want to roll it out for community-led monitoring for HIV and TB. So there are some really interesting tools and techniques that the Key Population Advocacy Consortium is actually taking the lead on it. But I think going forward in the pilot, it will be good for our fellows to also have this exposure to how CBOs approach surveillance, or rather, I should say, tracking of those with chronic disease, in addition to strengthening the local M&E capacities. But thank you, and a really neat presentation. And we also I just wanted to ask, so how often will this technical working group be meeting? And is there anybody from the PHA as part of the working group?
Yeah, thanks, Anita, firstly for those excellent points. Yeah, I think on your first comment regarding other additional activities at the province level, like linkages to COVID, or your comment on the community-led monitoring on HIV and TB. Maybe there are other areas as well, like nutrition and a few other things like that that we're looking at. But definitely they can be a collaboration between different agencies to see how best they can help with different programs. So there's a nice comment there. I think your next point on inclusion of PHAs. Yes, I think there's one or two members of the TWG that actually represent the provinces as well, but I believe they can communicate directly with the PHs as well on how we progress. But particularly the TWG will serve to address more technical issues, but we will also be communicating directly with our frontline provincial coordinators to liaise with the PHAs and other stakeholders on the ground. So we'll also have channels through the provincial frontline coordinator to address any other administrative issues as well. Did I respond to most of your questions well, Anita?
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
All right, that's good.
And just to add, Abel, to Anita's question, there's as much as possible, those staff on the ground that are supported through Global Fund or COVID support, or even the PATH program, will be working quite closely with those folks who are based at the PHA level, and depending on their background, some of them may actually be recruited into to be faculty to help deliver some of the frontline, especially some of the PATH contacts we've had discussions with, have a strong public health background and would be great trainers and mentors.
Yeah, thanks, James. When we just see, I just want to welcome, I think, a couple of people who just joined. Dr. Lau Kona, who's the CVO from Nakia. We welcome you. Thank you for joining at the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
any more? Thanks.
Yeah, hi.
Any more?
Oh,
Hi,
sorry.
Arden. Yes.
Alden, you go.
Yeah. Hi, Alden here. Thanks, Abel, for this summary. I'm so glad to see great progress being done, and that you are going to start a frontline, especially a One Health one. That's great. So I'm glad you're doing a readiness assessment, because that really helps to make sure that the provinces are ready, and I'm glad you selected 2 provinces. Just one comment. I've been doing a lot of mentor training, and I would suggest for the second mentor workshop to really focus on deliverables and help the mentors know what's the deliverables are, and help them know what they need to do. On a frontline level, it's more like what's needed is whenever they respond, they need to know they need to verify the whatever condition it is, and whether they need more help. So please remember that this is frontline and not intermediate or advanced. So the level of engagement is much less. It's more like to verify, and whether is this a large outbreak or a small outbreak, commercial items involved or something like that, so that they need help. Over.
Thanks, Alden. Appreciate that comment.
Hey, Abel, could I make a quick comment? Thank you.
Yes, Ranjan.
Thanks, Abel. That was a really fantastic presentation, and I can clearly see the breadth of the candidates in at least one province so far who were selected for the program. So I was just curious to know about whether they understand, their key sort of role of engaging at a frontline level. So the program participants need to be very proactive, as Alden mentioned about the superficial nature of the program, and are they really ready to sort of collaborate between different disciplines to sort of bring the One Health, approach into practice? So has there been any sort of, approach in place to sort of assess their readiness, and do they understand, do the candidates, potential candidates understand their sort of key roles, in the program, because this is short in nature, and so I was just curious to learn that. And is this a competitive process, the selection of the candidates? Thanks, Abe.
Yeah, thanks. We haven't actually kind of spoken directly. We only spoke directly with few of the candidates who will be participating for the West New Britain one. And most of those, I think they understand, because we had a time when we asked them to draw their organizational kind of structure, and then where they fit in the One Health that we're trying to roll out, and they were basically kind of pointing out the role that they play. And for example, in West New Britain, the people working within the environmental health actually drew their organizational structure and also pointed out key areas in which they collaborate. For example, when they were trying to clear ships were coming in from abroad, they go in there, but the other people responsible for clearing the ships, they cannot clear the ships if the environmental health people do not give their clearance in the first place. And so they understood the importance of communication and how well they can work as a team to address those kind of issues. So I think there's already understanding regarding overlaps in their areas and how best they can work together. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because I think we are going to reinforce that message that they need to understand the community engagement piece and how the different stakeholders and agencies can work together to really bring out this One Health component.
Yeah, terrific. Thanks, Abel. So just one more quick comment is I would echo with Alden in terms of the scope of the program. So it's not an intermediate or an advanced. So while reviewing the curriculum, some of the things I've made some comments in the document. So in terms of scope of the program and the nature of the program. So that would be great to sort of take that into consideration. This is a superficial program. Yeah. Thanks, Abel. Thank you.
No, thanks. And thanks for helping out in that curriculum mapping exercise. Appreciate it.
Hi, Alden again, another comment. I'm glad the recruitment is by province rather than national. And a suggestion about recruitment is to recruit a One Health team within the province. In other words, when you recruit your participants, make sure you have it from all the sectors and not just, mainly one. And I know the projects that they do are individual, but I had we did a One Health rapid response team development in Thailand. And instead of having individual projects, we had a group project. And the advantage of that is people work together instead of separately. And as you work together, you get to know other people and know their abilities and, build a network. So it's just one suggestion. I know it's a little different slant on doing field projects, But part of being success of One Health is having a network and who to go to in the environmental sector or human sector or animal sector, even wildlife sector. So building that into the training, I think will not only build skills, but also build connections so that after the training is done, you still have these connections and some One Health kind of network, at least in these two provinces. Over.
Yeah, thanks, thanks, Gordon, for bringing that up. Yeah, we've tried our discussions to cover and emphasize more on the One Health approach, even in a selection of candidates. So yeah, thanks again for reinforcing that message.
Yeah, but it's also the projects too, to make a One Health project rather than an individual project. So people work together. Over.
No, thanks, Gordon. I appreciate that point. We'll try and see when that opportunity presents. I think we will encourage group projects as well.
Yeah, I can provide more background on that later. Over.
Sounds good, Alden. Any more comments, questions?
Hi, Abel. Looks like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
No, sorry. Yeah, so it's Nick here. Look, I was just really in support of Alden's comment and interested, Abel. Like, I think that is definitely the way to try and bridge the boundaries between the sectors, is to get them to work on common problems. And so interested to hear a little bit about what the program's thinking. I don't know how far you've got in terms of engagement with communities within, to define the problems, like to work out, what projects are we going to work on. And I realise, it's only the 12-week course, but the point is trying to get these people down at the community level to be working on problems that sort of go across the boundaries, the traditional boundaries between health, animal health and environmental. So yeah, just really supportive of that idea of group projects, but curious to understand how you're planning to engage with communities to identify problems that these people will be working on. Over.
Hi, Alden here. Sorry. One approach is what we did was we had, as part of mentor training, the mentors came up with some projects during the training, and they would have some discussion on what would be, a robust enough project, and it would be a One Health kind of project where people can learn to work together as well as, the knowledge. Over.
Yeah, thanks for those brilliant ideas. Yeah, I think it's we will continue to need those welcome those ideas as we go along, but definitely I think community engagement and particularly understanding the issues that exist within the communities will be a very important piece for the mentors as well as the participants to work together to really address real health issues in the provinces. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, and sorry, another thing about doing that is that you're getting ready. You're not waiting for Frontline to start, but you're going to have your mentor training before Frontline training starts. So then you already have some ideas of what the field projects are instead of waiting till training starts. So it's kind of a jump start on the field projects. Over.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Oren.
Sorry, Abel, just on top of Alden's idea. Alden, maybe you can comment, or maybe it's for later discussion, so you can move on, Abel. I'm sure you've got other stuff you want to cover. But
Sure.
just how, because there's one thing around having the mentors, and it depends how well connected they are to the communities. But if you're taking, say, Alden's approach, then the question is, how well are the mentors representing the communities, or prior to that, the mentors are having some engagement with the communities to identify community issues. But the point is that you've got to get the community engagement so that you're working on a project that the community actually prioritizes and cares about, because that's where you get the buy-in and that's where you get the strong connections. So it's just around what's the best approach, and then how it fits in with your timing for the training, I guess. And so it's not just the mentors coming up with ideas by themselves, but it's driven by what the community wants. Over.
Yeah, so what you can do is, for the mentor training, it's not only mentors, but other people who can join. So these projects don't only come from the mentors, but whoever is in the mentor training, and you can invite community members, to be part of this training if you like. Over.
Yeah, thanks, Nick and Alden, for all those very vital information, and I appreciate it. I see that Dr. Fazila has joined from SafetyNet. Thank you, Dr. Fazila, for joining. We just
sorry, I was late. I got onto the different link here.
All right, thanks. We just ran through the slides and reading the discussions right towards the end, but we can share the slides with you later on.
Thank you. Now, it was interesting. I also heard about the needs when you want to conduct the mentor training. From my experience, what we also did is that we called the head of the province health office, the head, and normally they also would like the mentors to take up projects, like if, like, say, in a district there's a lot of dengue going on, so they would like the trainees and the mentors to go in depth about that problem, sometimes rather than the mentor or the mentee. Sometimes also the community may not even realize that that's actually the problem. So it's also good to get the feedback from the head of the health province.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Fazila.
Yeah.
I know Symphorian has also joined. Welcome, Symphorian. James, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Abel, and yeah, welcome, Sim. I was just saying, I think we could replicate a similar process we did for the advanced program, where we had a participatory prioritization exercise, bringing in some key representatives to identify the themes. In this case, it would just be one theme, but we could pull in the community leaders and representatives as well into that activity as has been discussed. I think it's a fantastic idea.
One thing, remember the scale and magnitude of Frontline is much more downplayed than advanced or even intermediate. And, we just have 3 short months to accomplish this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just, one focused area, I think, makes a lot of sense. But yes, scope is definitely an important consideration.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for all those contributions, and definitely you'll have our email. So if you have any other good ideas, and as Olin mentioned, if you have any resources to share with us, please do feel free to share those with us and keep them coming. In the interest of time, we will actually, I think we got a couple more points to cover, and then we should be done. But maybe we can advance to the next slide. Joe, do you want to briefly go through some of this? Is okay with you?
Oh, sure. Thanks, Abel. I think we have discussed participants, but I guess just opening the floor if anyone would like to join the technical working group. Reznor, you're certainly welcome. I know you've already been heavily involved with the drafting the curriculum, but yeah, just welcoming any others. And same with the content review. So the technical working group will meet at least every 2 weeks to review content. And as mentioned, the content will be adapted from CDC Frontline and then other programs such as ISAVET, but with heavy input from folks like Sib Florian and Beth Sheba based in the province. And as we just mentioned, we will be doing some, of course, engagement with community leaders to identify key themes, key topics, priorities for the field projects. For evaluation, I might throw to James towards, this is more of the vision for Frontline, just some discussion about how, this is of course a pilot, but how we're going to evaluate this pilot and yeah, the long-term, I guess, future for Frontline.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Joe. As everyone knows, this is a pilot, so 6 provinces will be tackled in this first phase. And we hope to get additional funding so we can continue working in those 6 provinces. We feel for the PHAs to really get a good appreciation of the potential value of a program like this. It needs to be running consecutively for several years. And then the goal is to have the PHAs kind of pick it up and embed this training into their operational annual planning and run it kind of sustainably. So the goal is to do 2 this year and then pick up 4 new provinces next year, and hopefully also do a second cohort for the first 2 provinces that we run this year. So West New Britain and West Sepik, they'll run their first cohorts this year, and then hopefully a second cohort next year along with the 4 other provinces. And just touching on that cascade training model, this kind of builds in a little bit to that scalability and sustainability kind of issue, and that's having a trainer from, say, the first province, so West New Britain, say they kick off first, and Beth will then go over to West Sepik and support Simporium in that training, and then Simporium will go to the next province and be a core support as they launch their program. So try to build that connectivity between the provinces that are part of the pilot. Obviously, scalability is a challenge. Like with 22 provinces, running 22 independent FETPs is a huge undertaking. But I think if we just focus on these 6 and do them really well, evaluate them really well, learn lessons, and each year, modify the curriculum as we've done for intermediate and advanced, and really build a really fantastic curriculum and program. Hopefully, demand will be there for other PHAs to want to do this in their provinces. So that's kind of a bit of the plan. Evaluation will be a really strong piece of this. We'll have, we're developing our impact evaluation frameworks right now for the intermediate and advanced, and we'll apply similar tools to the Frontline program and have a local evaluation team supporting that really important work.
Thanks a lot, James. Just that last point, just noting, this is quite a cutting edge program. You're all aware. It's the One Health approach has been used around in other programs globally, but this is really a unique initiative in PNG, and the strong focus on community engagement, of course, and addressing the real the frontline needs in local communities in the province. So we anticipate that we'll be able to share the lessons learned and the model used as it continuously improves from these pilots. In the last minute, Abel, welcome any more feedback, especially on what James just covered.
No, I think we're good.
And just to pick up on your last point, Joe, and Alden might be able to help us out here with a number of frontline programs that do have a One Health kind of approach. But I think what you said, I'm not sure there's any frontline programs that have integrated really significantly the community engagement element. So I could be wrong there, but I think this will be quite an as you say, a bit of a cutting edge curriculum, hopefully, that tries to bring together the One Health and the community engagement piece and really kind of center and focus those elements into a frontline. But Alden, do you have any thoughts on other frontline programs that doing One Health? And
yes, we got some funding to do a pilot One Health frontline in 3 countries, and we're going to roll it out in a few months. I don't think they have this community engagement aspect, though. It's more like a, reaching out to different sectors rather than community engagement. Over.
Great, thanks, Alden. Do you see any value in potentially connecting with these other countries to share some ideas around how they're running their front lines? I mean, there might be an opportunity even at TEFINET if they're going to be there to connect around this a little bit.
Yeah, well, I can actually I sit on the group also.
Awesome.
But yeah, we can have a meeting with them and kind of share ideas and okay.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Alden.
Sure.
All right, thanks, James and Alden. I think we got a last slide to go. I think that's covering the next steps. Yeah, I think a couple of things that we have to do before the workshops start, and just finalizing the recruitments for West CPIC this month, and then completing the readiness assessment for West CPIC as well. And content development is ongoing in the next couple of months, and we should provide you updates from time to time on how we're progressing with this. But let me just say thank you everyone for joining. And if you have any other good ideas that you may not have shared on this meeting, I think we welcome those ideas. So please share them with us. Any final thoughts from James or Joe or Trini?
No, just to thank you, Abel, for really leading this initiative in PNG. We really appreciate all the work you do, and just also very appreciative of everyone who joined today.
Thanks, nothing more from me, Abel. Have heard from a couple on the call who are interested in joining the technical working group. Please just reach out. And as Abel mentioned, we'll keep everyone updated as content is progressed and we start, developing the field projects and narrowing down on key priorities. Thanks.
All right, thanks Cynthia and Alois as well for joining from the provinces, and thanks everyone for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abel.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Abel. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks for the opportunity.
All right, bye-bye.